With Detective Russo's demise weighing heavily, Jack Reacher and his team intensify their search for Langston before he finalizes the deal. In the penultimate episode of Reacher Season 2, Langston seizes control, compelling Reacher to use every resource to save his friends. Episode 7 serves as a moment of calm before the storm of the finale, maintaining its own strength despite the loss of Detective Russo. Entering Marsh's house to uncover why he betrayed Detective Russo, Reacher discovers Marsh packing his bags with a lot of cash. Reacher succeeds in pressuring him for answers, but tension rises as Marsh reaches for his gun. In a split-second decision, Reacher pulls the trigger, ending Marsh's life. The lone piece of information that Marsh provided Reacher was that Grant, who was thought to be dead from the previous episode when he was run over by a car, was the only guy who could provide more information to Reacher. However, Reacher says that he was killed when they ran him over, but Marsh tells him he is still alive in intensive care. Reacher and Francis head to the hospital to visit him. Initially tight-lipped, Grant succumbs to pressure from Reacher and Francis, revealing Langston's rendezvous with Ajari. Despite cooperating, Reacher gives him a lethal injection as a sinister gift from Detective Russo. While exiting the hospital, they spot a suspicious figure in scrubs, probably there to eliminate the loose end, which was Grant. In self-defense, Francis and Reacher mistakenly killed him, but Reacher regretted it because he wanted to question him. Taking the man's phone, Reacher dials Langston, who explains his irritation at Reacher's interference. Langston unveils a contingency plan. Russo's car was bugged, leading them to O'Donnell and Dixon. He proposes a deal. Reacher and Francis surrender to his henchmen, remain under surveillance until the deal concludes, and then they will be granted freedom, and nobody will bother them again. But as we all know, Langston doesn't want loose ends. Doubting the deal, Reacher questions Langston, who insists that they will be $65 million richer and don't need to tie any loose ends. Despite his reservations, Reacher deceives Langston, claiming that his associate killed Francis, making Reacher the only person that will surrender. Realizing he needs support for his upcoming mission because it's not something he can pull off alone, Reacher turns to Senator Lavoie for assistance. Understanding the stakes and wanting to avoid any fallout on his end, Lavoie willingly agrees to provide Reacher with the necessary resources and backing to take on Langston. After some back and forth, Reacher decides that the only way he is going to be able to take down Langston is from the inside. So he tells Francis that he will turn himself into Langston and attempt to hold off until Lavoie's team comes to his aid. The episode ends with Reacher surrendering himself over to Langston and his team, while O'Donnell and Dixon are both attached to gurneys. So, why were the special investigators disbanded? It all comes down to Reacher defying direct orders from his supervisor. Up the chain of command, a desperate colonel is trying to salvage his legacy, stained by an overlooked drug smuggling operation. Unfazed, Jack vows to dismantle the ring. In a bold move, he rallies his squad, offering them a chance to join him. The catch? Those who step up face likely discharge or undesirable transfers. But defiance runs deep, and no one in the squad backs down. Tonight's the night for the operation, and they are ready for whatever is in store for them. As expected, they catch 3 officers smuggling heroin in military Humvee tires. Buyers arrive, and the special investigators swiftly eliminate them all, even the military officers, with one exception, a guy with a broken leg, courtesy of Reacher's car crashing through the fence during a daring escape. The next day, with destiny hanging over them, Swan strums Crazy on You by Heart on his guitar, the entire squad joining in on the chorus. Their fate becomes crystal clear when the unit's commander steps in, unleashing an earful at Reacher. Unfazed, Jack fires back with his trademark snark. The commander paints a bleak picture, officially disbanding the special investigators. And that's the story of why the special investigators were disbanded. Reacher went against orders, trying to stop a drug operation. He gathered his team, knowing they might get into trouble. They pulled off the mission, but it cost them. The commander wasn't happy, officially ending the special investigators. It's the end of their story, but who knows what's next for Jack Reacher and the rest of his crew that are fortunately still alive.